Wolves and glittery vampires unite for a look back at the final days on the set of Twilight.
Every film has been like a family reunion.
In the years since the record-breaking blockbuster franchise came to a close, the cast have revealed a ton about the very end of production. From breakdowns of the stars' last days and parting gifts, to their most brutally honest thoughts on the Twilight movies.
There's a lot of stuff in the Twilight world that doesn't make any sense.
Robert Pattison and Kristen Stewart's very last scene was Bella and Edward's deer hunt in the woods. And since the rest of the cast had already wrapped, Rob felt it was ridiculous to bother getting emotional with just the two of them.
Don't say goodbye to anyone.
Kristen probably wasn't in the mood either, since the very last thing she did on set was step on a nail. The duo's final day on the Twilight franchise was a lot more anticlimactic than the Twihards were probably hoping for. Taylor Lautner left the world of Twilight on a pretty lonely note.
This is painful.
While his second to last day was spent doing a scene with Rob and Kristen, his final day was spent filming all by himself. Although he was sad to have finished filming alone, Lautner still managed to see the bright side of things. It was a little emotional, but I mean, the good news is we will be able to promote Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2 together for the next year and a half. Jackson Rathbone and Ashley Greene were lucky enough to have two last days. Their last day with the director, Bill Condon, and the rest of the first unit crew was the wedding reception with everyone there, including Nikki Reed, whose last day it actually was.
That was your last thing?
Yeah.
As lovely as that send-off would have been for them, the moment didn't really sink in for the duo, since they and Kellan Lutz still had one more day of fight scenes to film with the second unit. Unfortunately, the last day was a little less enjoyable.
Even though the last day was like 15, 16 hours and it was raining and it was wet and everybody was just excited to get home.
The streak of anticlimactic last days continues with co-stars Elizabeth Reaser and Peter Facinelli. For their final day filming on the Twilight franchise, the heads of the Cullen clan did a simple scene of them walking up from the backyard of the Cullen house. And unlike Ashley Greene and Jackson Rathbone, the moment sunk in for them immediately.
And we just hugged for like 5 minutes, and then we went to dinner.
Then we went to dinner.
Really lovely.
Actor Anna Kendrick found her experience on Twilight to be both very challenging and weirdly bonding, and she will not miss it. Kendrick played a much smaller role later on in the series, which meant a lot less time on the set for Breaking Dawn. Not only did she not have to show up until the final day of shooting with the first unit, but she also had to promote Breaking Dawn Part 1. I can tell you this, I'm not in Breaking Dawn Part 2, so I don't have to talk about it.
I'm just kidding.
Taylor Lautner had a couple of things from Twilight that he was happy to say goodbye to, including taking his shirt off. While it may have been a treat for fans, Lautner did not enjoy being the only one who was shirtless on set, especially in the cold and wet conditions they always filmed in. But for Lautner, nothing was worse than having to wear that dreaded wig. There was hatred between both of us. It did not like me, I did not like it. Not fond memories. After playing Esme Cullen for a whopping 5 movies, the only thing actor Elizabeth Reaser wishes she had done was take a memento to commemorate her time on the Twilight franchise. I regret that I didn't steal anything, but I found that stealing from sets is not good. She was not alone, as fellow clan member Nikki Reed was also too afraid to swipe anything.
I just was feeling so nervous that I would be in trouble.
After wrapping on the Twilight movies, actor Nikki Reed revealed some on-set tension between her and co-stars Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattison, likely stemming from her alleged love triangle with Robert and Kristen, and her character's absence from most of New Moon. Reed felt that the family dynamic on set had disappeared by the end. I don't feel particularly sentimental. I feel like we're all sort of ready to graduate middle school and move on to whatever the next chapter is.
But we'll always be this.
Once his time on Twilight was finished, Kellan Lutz was not afraid to get candid about the franchise, especially when it came to the writing. I didn't like the script. How scary would a glimmering vampire really be? It just doesn't make sense. He was also not a big fan of shooting days with the entire ensemble cast, griping that he would often just end up standing around all day with nothing to do. But when it came to his own character, Lutz was surprisingly sentimental. There's a lot of Emmett in Kellan, and a lot of Kellan in Emmett, and I'm going to bring Emmett with me for the rest of my life. Robert Pattison has never been one to hide his true feelings, especially when it comes to the Twilight movies. He felt weird representing a franchise that he was not a particular fan of. And when he was asked if he would have gone to see Twilight if he wasn't in it, his response was pretty blunt. I would just mindlessly hate it. Despite his distaste for the films, he did admit he'll miss filming them just a little.
Yeah, I think I will miss it a bit.
One thing Elizabeth Reaser won't miss is the colored contact lenses the vampires in the cast were forced to wear, and Peter Facinelli elaborated on why. I remember Elizabeth woke up one day and her eyes were swollen shut. I was like, I play a doctor, but I can't help you, Elizabeth. Actor Maggie Grace chimed in as well, adding that some of the contacts were even hard to see through. It was funny, some you could see through and some you just couldn't. So it was a little strange to be, you know, in a scene with someone that you couldn't see. Co-stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattison, and Michael Sheen were not fans of the painful contacts either.
So glad to see you here after all.
The lovable on-screen couple of Ashley Greene and Jackson Rathbone had an equally lovable view with their time with their cast members off-screen. The two described every film after the first as a kind of family reunion, and felt that growing up together on these films really bonded the core cast. However, there were also a number of things they definitely won't miss about Twilight, including the dreary weather, white makeup, long night shoots, and those annoying wigs.
The contacts.
The wigs.
The wigs.
For Breaking Dawn, Kellan Lutz wanted to add a little more muscle to his already ripped frame, but he may have gone a little overboard. I got really big. 7 months of working out, that's double the time we had for the other movies. I was just eating and working out because I had a lot of downtime. So I just would watch football in the gym, work out. So after they wrapped, Lutz chilled on the workouts for a little while. I think we can all agree Kellan earned himself a break. After his extensive time on Twilight, Peter Facinelli was determined to get his own unique parting gift. Carlisle's ring. He had actually been caught trying to swipe it from the set on the first movie, but with the series coming to an end, he saw another opportunity and pounced on it. When we did Breaking Dawn Part 2, it might have or it might not have been left on my finger when I got home. Thanks to the staggered scheduling and multiple shooting units, the final confrontation in Breaking Dawn Part 2 was the first and last time the entire cast was together. That fact made things a bit bittersweet for some of the actors, including Peter Facinelli. The other day when we shot that ending sequence, we knew that was the ending of the last 2 movies and it got a little melancholy. It was sad. On the bright side for Facinelli, that specific sequence took several weeks to film, so the cast had plenty of time to spend together. However, Robert Pattison wasn't so psyched about the lengthy shoot. Being on a piece of fake snow surrounded by green screen for like a month, it's driving me absolutely insane.
And then they just end it, and it's like, well, okay, well, that's that.
With the addition of the young Mackenzie Foy for the Breaking Dawn productions, the crew introduced a swear jar to try and keep a lid on the profanity on set. Which cast members do you think contributed the most to the jar? Could you keep a lid on your own salty language? Let us know in the comments.